Former New Japan Pro Wrestling star Tama Tonga makes his WWE debut on Smackdown, joining the Bloodline and attacking Jimmy Uso as the faction seemingly has been shaken up significantly. Former TKO Executive Chairman Vince McMahon reportedly has registered all his remaining TKO shares for sale. He hasn't sold them yet, but certainly he could do. Jon Moxley makes history as he wins the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Jack Perry has taunted CM Punk in his entrance at the New Japan Windy City Riot show. AJ Styles will face off once again against LA Knight next week on SmackDown to determine the number one contender for the undisputed WWE Championship. You notice that I called it that. That's because Cody Rhodes' title has undergone a bit of a name change after his victory at WrestleMania. Once again, we've seen another Uncle Howdy / Bo Dallas tease on SmackDown last night. Sheamus will make his return to WWE television on Raw this Monday. Bayley is set to face off against Naomi for the Women's Championship on SmackDown next week. An interesting update on one city that could be set to host next year's Royal Rumble PLE. Piper Niven makes her return to WWE television, and Natalya, reportedly, her contract is coming up soon. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Tama Tonga, who stunningly made his WWE debut last night on SmackDown, joining the Bloodline and also kicking Jimmy Uso out of the faction as well. Now, post-WrestleMania, the winds of change tend to blow in WWE, and last night on SmackDown, it was no different. Solo Sikoa took charge and seemingly ushered in a new era, booting Jimmy Uso from the Bloodline with the help of a debuting Tama Tonga, all to the wise man Paul Heyman's apparent surprise. Heyman, Sikoa and Uso took the ring, with newly crowned WWE Hall of Famer stating that they were there on the orders of the tribal chief Roman Reigns, who ordered that they give no excuses for coming up short against new undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes. After giving Rhodes his due and singling out his focus, Heyman was interrupted by Sikoa, who asked if winning and losing matters, if there are consequences to losing, and if consequences mean change. Now, answering in the affirmative to all, Heyman looked beyond concerned as Sikoa pushed him aside and hugged his brother Jimmy, telling him he loved him, all just to set up an attack from behind by an invading hooded figure, soon revealed to be Tonga. After Sikoa hit a series of Samoan spikes, Tonga held up the one and was joined by Sikoa first and then a hesitant Heyman, who then told his iPhone to call Roman Reigns. Sikoa then ripped the phone away and smashed it before finishing Jimmy with a hip attack, while Uso had a chair draped around his neck. Now, Tonga technically is not family to the Samoan dynasty, but it's long been recognised that the Anawahi Maivia Fatu bloodline considers him as much, as they do his father Haku and his brothers Hikuleu and Tanga Loa of New Japan Pro Wrestling fame. With Loa, Tonga is a 7-time IWGP Tag Team Champion and a Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion, a 4-time Never Openweight Champion, and a 4-time Never Openweight 6-Man Tag Team Champion with Loa and various other partners. In a backstage segment later on in the show, it was also revealed when Tama Tonga went up to Paul Heyman and said, by orders of the tribal chief, but he didn't say who the tribal chief was, so we'll have to wait and see indeed what happens when it comes to that. But as far as details on his signing with WWE, these come courtesy of Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, because Tama Tonga is in WWE and he's in the Bloodline. According to Fightful Select, Tonga has been eyed for WWE for quite some time and is now inserted into one of the top storylines in the company. Solo Sikoa, as I mentioned, introduced him into the Bloodline, kicking Jimmy Uso out. Tonga's official WWE debut was a long time coming and one that's been expected over the last few months. Now, thus far, Fightful say they haven't heard any info on if his brothers Hikuleu or Tanga Loa have been targeted by WWE. However, one person we do know that has signed with the company is Jacob Fatu, and he was backstage at WrestleMania. One idea that has been floated internally as a possibility was Fatu teaming with Tama Tonga. Their fathers, Haku and the Tonga Kid, teamed together in the 80s as the Islanders. Tama Tonga has long been targeted by WWE. WWE reportedly had interest in him back in 2016 when they brought in AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows and Shinsuke Nakamura in a bit of a raid of New Japan Pro Wrestling talent at the time. But Tonga opted to stay in New Japan to work with his brothers. and was reported last year that WWE had interest in both Hikuleo and Tama Tonga, but things were held up when this unofficial hiring freeze took place when Vince McMahon forced his way back into the company. Now, Fightful said they haven't heard of any talks between Tama Tonga and AEW as of yet, and Fightful have been told it was a foregone conclusion that he was headed to WWE, and he always maintained a positive relationship with the company. So certainly big stuff. Where do you see this one playing out? Where do you think it goes from here? Let me know your thoughts as always in the comment section below. Now, this is certainly a really interesting story that maybe shouldn't come as too much of a surprise considering what's happened in the last few weeks, but a new filing published Friday evening shows that all 8,021,405 TKO shares that still belong to former executive chairman Vince McMahon have been registered for sale. Now, that doesn't mean they're sold yet, though. Additionally, 234,424 shares held by WWE President Nick Khan and another 3,508 shares held by the TKO board member Steve Koonin are also registered for sale. Now, the fact that the shares are registered for sale doesn't mean that they'll necessarily be selling all the shares, although they might. It is a possibility. And the rate at which McMahon has liquidated millions of shares in recent months suggests he might be looking for a pathway to sell off his ownership completely. Now, registering the shares for sale allows the public to buy them and therefore might allow McMahon, Khan and Koonin get a better deal and to complete any transactions with less administrative friction. No timeline, according to Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics, is placed on when these shares may be sold. The filing states, quote, Nick Khan and Stephen R. Koonin, who are directors of TKO, and Vincent K. McMahon will be selling stockholders and may be from time to time offer and sell any or all of their respective shares of Class A common stock set forth below pursuant to this prospectus, end quote. Now, any stock transactions involving Khan or Koonin will need to be disclosed as long as they're both serving as board members for TKO as required by the SEC. When it comes to Vince McMahon, though, things have kind of changed when it comes to him. Vince McMahon is no longer a board member or an executive with the company. He now only holds 4.7% of all TKO shares. When he was still holding more than 5% of the company, his transactions had to be reported publicly, but since his multiple stock sales since November 2023, his ownership percentage has fallen below the 5% threshold, which is important for the reporting requirements. However, McMahon currently owns 9.9% of Class A TKO shares. There are two classes of TKO stock. Class A shares are basically the former WWE shares, which represent around 48% of TKO. The rest of the company consists of Class B shares, which are held by Endeavor. Because McMahon holds more than 5% of TKO's Class A shares, he may still be required to file some kind of forms on certain occasions, depending on what stock has been sold. The filing also mentions that TKO has no plans to pay any dividend to shareholders either. It says, quote, we do not currently anticipate declaring or paying any other cash dividends to holders of our Class A common stock in the foreseeable future. WWE, before it was merged into TKO in September, paid a quarterly dividend of 12 cents per quarter. That's what they did previously, but that's not going to be the case now. The 234,424 shares registered for sale by Khan have a market value of $23 million, and Koonin's 3,508 shares that were registered have a value of $343,784. So that's going to be the case. What do you think this means for Vince McMahon? Do you think he's looking to sell off his entire stake in the company? Do you think that's just because of legal bills? Is he going to ride off into the sunset? Or is he going to try and do something else in the world of sports entertainment? Let me know your thoughts and predictions for that too. Jon Moxley has made history this weekend. AEW's Jon Moxley has added another massive accomplishment to his legendary career by becoming the brand new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. In the main event of the New Japan Windy City Riot, Moxley dethroned Tetsuya Naito for the gold. Naito had held the title since Wrestle Kingdom 18 in January, where he had dethroned Sanada. Not only did Moxley win the gold, but he also made history in the process. With his victory, the AEW star has become the first person ever to win the richest prize in New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, and WWE. Moxley, though, didn't walk into Chicago alone, as he had some serious support from others in AEW. On social media, an image surfaced showing Moxley's wife Renee Paquette and AEW President Tony Khan in attendance at the show. Following Moxley's historic championship victory, Khan congratulated the new champion and acknowledged Moxley's history of winning gold in the Windy City's Wintrust Arena. This, of course, is a huge victory for Moxley, who will now need to divide his time between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Fans can expect a massive role for the new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion when the two companies collide once more this June for the annual Forbidden Door crossover event, which will be taking place in Long Island, New York. Now, speaking of the New Japan Windy City Riot show, we saw an appearance and a match with Jack Perry, and of course it was in Chicago, and you knew after this week we were going to get a CM Punk reference, and that's exactly what we got. After footage of the infamous All In 2023 scuffle between CM Punk and Jack Perry controversially aired on the April 10 edition of Dynamite, the wrestling community was seemingly set ablaze. Everyone seemingly has an opinion on both the backstage altercation itself and the decision to air the video, but if Perry's actions at New Japan's Windy City Riot show Friday night are an indicator, AEW has no intention of easing off the gas. Perry made his entrance in Chicago. With his back turned to the crowd, draped over his shoulders was the Chicago flag, something CM Punk has very much popularized in the sphere of professional wrestling during his career. Perry dramatically dropped the flag to reveal the words "Cry Me a River" painted in white on the back of his leather jacket. During his subsequent match with Shota Umino, Perry rubbed more salt into the reopened wound by attempting the GTS, Punk's signature move. Umino reversed into a DDT before hitting a Death Rider to win the match. But do you think we're going to see Jack Perry return to AEW TV in the future? Considering what's happened in recent weeks, could he side with the Young Bucks? Could we see him at AEW Dynasty? Where do you think that one's going? Let me know your thoughts about that as well. Now, going back to Smackdown last night, we have a huge number one contenders match next week set for the Blue brand on Fox. LA Knight and AJ Styles will have a WrestleMania 40 rematch next week on SmackDown to determine who will go one-on-one to face Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. Knight won a triple threat match against Santos Escobar and Bobby Lashley at the beginning of the show on Friday, while Styles defeated Rey Mysterio and Kevin Owens in the main event to move on in the number one contenders tournament. Owens started off the main event hot, even hitting a cannonball to Styles into the ring barricade. When the show came back from break, Mysterio was in control and attempted to hit a 619 on Styles, but got caught. The match continued, with many counters and pinfall attempts broken up between the three competitors. Later, Owens hit a German suplex on both Styles and Mysterio at the same time. Mysterio was able to get Owens out of the ring and connected with a 619 to Styles before getting hit with a stunner on the apron for his troubles. Owens attempted a swanton bomb onto Styles, but Styles got his knees up for the counter. Styles then attempted to go to the top rope, but Mysterio grabbed his leg and climbed to the turnbuckle to meet him. Styles, however, was able to hit Mysterio with a Styles clash from the middle rope onto Owens, still lying on the mat, to get the pin for the victory. LA Knight came out to get in Styles' face to talk trash to close the show. Of course, LA Knight defeated AJ Styles in his WrestleMania debut over the weekend of Night 2 of WrestleMania 40. So who do you think is going to be challenging Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship? Now, I've caught a few times the undisputed WWE Championship because it looks like the championship that Cody Rhodes won at WrestleMania has undergone a bit of a name change. When Cody Rhodes made his entrance on last night's SmackDown, he was given a big announcement by Mike Rome. Notably, Rhodes was introduced as the undisputed WWE Champion, seemingly dropping the Universal title distinction. In the in-ring segment, Rhodes discussed both of the big triple threat matches that took place on SmackDown last night. Of course, the winner will face off in those matches next week, which will be LA Knight versus Cody Rhodes, and the winner will face Cody Rhodes at Backlash in France on May 4 for the WWE Championship. Now, seemingly, we got yet another Uncle Howdy / Bo Dallas tease last night on SmackDown 2. The WWE Universe was once again given an ominous message via a glitch as part of the April 12 post-WrestleMania 40 edition of SmackDown. Now, the glitch occurred during a tag team match pitting Chelsea Green and Piper Niven against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Though it appeared for a fraction of a second, eagle-eyed fans were able to spot the message, "You forgot about us." Now, this wasn't the only bizarre message in store for the fans who attended SmackDown in Detroit. Before the show, eerie music was played and all the video screens displayed the SmackDown logo in black and white, similar to what we saw Monday night on Raw before the show went on the air. Now, the prevailing theory among fans is that this is all setting up the return of Uncle Howdy, who was portrayed by Bo Dallas in 2022 and 2023. Of course, the character was introduced following Bray Wyatt's return at the Extreme Rules event in 2022, but was pulled from television alongside Wyatt in early 2023. As one fan with a good memory pointed out on Twitter, Howdy previously described himself as us during a segment. The us line has also had fans speculating that Uncle Howdy will not return alone and that Alexa Bliss could return to programming, and that could be a combination of the two. Of course, Bliss was once associated with Wyatt, but hasn't competed in over a year due to her pregnancy. The former women's champion gave birth to her daughter Hendrix last year. Before plans were nixed due to Bray Wyatt's illness, there were reported plans for a Wyatt 6 faction that would have included Uncle Howdy and possibly Bliss. However, again, she went on maternity leave. Now, Sheamus, he is coming back to WWE television. There was a vignette that aired this past week on Raw and another one on Smackdown, and now it has confirmed when the Celtic Warrior is returning. After being sidelined for 238 days, Fight Night is back on. An advertisement for the April 15 episode of Raw was aired Friday night on Smackdown, announcing several attractions for the upcoming show, including Sheamus' confirmed return to WWE television. As of this recording, Sheamus is confirmed for just a general return to TV. We don't know if it's in-ring action or anything like that. Sheamus has been absent from WWE TV since August 2023 after he suffered an unspecified but severe shoulder injury during his match with the departing Edge, now known as AEW's Adam Copeland. Sheamus' absence saw the dissolution of the Brawling Brute stable. Ridge Holland, he's returned to NXT as part of this retirement storyline. Butch isn't even Butch anymore. He's now once again known as Pete Dunne. He's teaming with Tyler Bates as part of the New Catch Republic. The April 8th episode of Raw saw a hype package for the Irish superstar where he claimed that the time for fighting is now. So seemingly Sheamus is going to be coming back this Monday. Now next week on SmackDown, we've got a big Women's Championship bout. Bayley's first defense of a newly won Women's Championship has been revealed. In an in-ring segment, Bayley was soaking in the praise of the Detroit, Michigan crowd after a big WrestleMania 40 win, appearing back on the blue brand for the first time since her victory over Io Sky for the Women's Championship. The celebration wasn't for very long. Instead, Tiffany Stratton joined Bayley as she assumed Bayley was announcing an open challenge and was there to answer it. Bayley, however, pointed out that she was not offering any such challenge, rather had her eye on a specific opponent as her first challenger. Summoning Naomi to the ring, it would lead to a match between Stratton and Naomi to determine who would be Bayley's first title challenger. In the end, Naomi picked up the victory and set up the match for next week. Now, a bit of an update when it comes to a future Royal Rumble location. Yes, this is certainly an interesting one. According to a report from a local Milwaukee affiliate, CBS 58, city officials have been in talks with WWE about hosting a big event. Per the report, local decision makers have been in talks with WWE about hosting a Royal Rumble event at American Family Field once it is winterized. American Family Field is a retractable roof stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, home of the Milwaukee Brewers. The report states, quote, a source who asked not to be identified because they did not want to share too much about the conversations, says city and state representatives met with WWE officials in Philadelphia last weekend during the company's biggest annual event, WrestleMania. Visit Milwaukee President Peggy Williams-Smith confirmed the city was hoping to land the event. Quote, we would love to welcome WWE's Royal Rumble to Milwaukee in a future year, she said in a statement, and WWE knows it. So certainly we could see that coming to Milwaukee in the future. Now, I spoke about Piper Niven earlier on. She is back on WWE television as well. The dominant Scot made her return to television on SmackDown after being out of action for a couple of months due to a hand injury she suffered in January. Her tag team partner Chelsea Green has done some work in singles competition in Niven's absence, but Niven rejoined Green upon her return. The two are former women's tag team champions. Luck was not with them though when it came to their opponents, however, as Green and Niven faced the first-time tag team duo of Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. The match was short and sweet, and Niven couldn't protect her partner from being jaded and eating the loss. But Piper Niven is back on TV. And finally, a bit of an update when it comes to more contracts coming up in WWE. Now, there's been a bit of a shake-up when it comes to talent relations this week in World Wrestling Entertainment because Dan Ventrell, EVP of Talent, is out of WWE after a year and a half with the company. According to Sean Rossap, Ventrell was seemingly not adored by talent on a professional level, and Fightful have heard several pointing the finger at him as a reason why many deals have really nearly reached a expiration. Fightful have been told that he was actively discussing several new deals at the time of his return, but several within the industry didn't feel as if he was an appropriate fit to the position he was in, negotiating deals with talent. In recent months, it's been reported that Drew McIntyre, Becky Lynch, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and others have their deals coming up much sooner than would typically be the case before negotiation. In addition, Fightful have been told that Natalia's WWE deal is also up within the next couple of months, and talks have not taken place between the two sides. Natalya, of course, is the company's longest tenured female wrestler. So we get any more details on that in the future, we'll let you know. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.